So it's Friday the 13th of February 2026. The last time that we spoke, or the last update, was Saturday the 17th of January, so 4 weeks ago, more or less. And a lot has happened since then, and a lot happened before then. On the 21st of January I had chemo, and this was a new experience with the chemo because I'm due to get chemo now every 3 weeks through till the 8th of July. If all goes according to plan, which means I'll see the World Cup. But on the 21st of January, for the first time, I had the chemo without steroids. And the reason for that was I'd been on steroids, dexamethasone, for 6 weeks, November through till December last year, to block the tumour that was trying to get into the base of my skull. So that was a life-saving drug, the dexamethasone, but it was also life-destroying in a way because it made me wakeful, it made me wolfish and didn't recognise myself at times. So the day after my chemo that I got on the 28th of December, 29th of December, the Monday, I was hospitalised at the Beatson for a psychiatric assessment, and I had a seizure, a fit of some kind, caused by the dexamethasone, by the steroids, and I had to be put on an anti-seizure drug, an antipsychotic drug. But the consequences of that also, as well as the fact that I was sectioned under the Mental Health Scotland Act 2003, I was in hospital for 10 days, but the real upshot of it that was consequential for the chemotherapy was that I wasn't allowed steroids. I had to be kept off steroids in case I had another seizure, which made sense. Usually when you get chemotherapy, you get dexamethasone tablets the day before, night before. You get dexamethasone as an infusion on the day of the chemo, and you get hydrocortisone, and quite often you'll be on something like prednisolone throughout the period of the chemotherapy. I was on it for 4 months last time. So this was very different. This was, the only thing I was allowed was Piriton. It's an antihistamine. And I was joking at the time when I knew this was going to happen. I was saying to a friend, it's like being told you're getting surgery and you can only take 2 paracetamol. But that was unfair, and because the truth is the Piriton did a job of insulating me. I had a bit of a reaction on the 21st of January because the chemotherapy, the drug, wasn't titrated, it wasn't slowed down the way it had to be. But once it was slowed down, it went in fine and it was okay. I had quite a bit of side effects or after effects, and I wasn't sure whether that was the other drugs I was taking or whether it was the fact that I didn't have the steroids. But I had a reaction to the chemotherapy, and a bit more elimination follows. So I had a reaction to the chemotherapy last time round, changes in my taste, changes in my appetite, tiredness, found it really difficult to climb stairs, to go up a slope, walking up a hill or anything really tired me out. And I found I had to take a nap in the morning as well as the afternoon, so I was really napping. It wasn't just turning one day into 2, turning one day into 3 with my sleep pattern. So there was a lot of disruption. That began to settle about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, and then I had chemo again this Wednesday, and after it I felt much better. The treatment didn't have to be paused. What they did was they put the Piriton in first, and then with a saline solution, the Piriton, you get a cannula. I get a cannula in the back of my wrist here, just a tiny dot, that's all that the limp that was left. Get a saline solution, then you get the Piriton, then they actually gave me an hour's break just for that to settle, and then I got the drug, the cabazitaxel in. Maybe that was an hour and a half or so, and went in very slow, felt fine, didn't have any side effects or after effects. My appetite seems to be better, so I think the other drugs are settling. The chemo went as well as can be expected. This is probably as well as I've felt after any of the chemo that I've had, including the docetaxel back in November 23 through to March 24. So I feel good, and today I did 9,700 steps. Deanie and I had a long walk. We had, I think, probably 2 or 3 separate walks that we did, so but that's almost 10,000 steps, which is, I think, what my average was when I was at my best, so I feel really good about that. And just to give you an insight into what's a slightly untypical week, I had my bloods taken on Monday morning. This happens, so usually it's bloods on the Monday, see my oncologist on the Tuesday, chemo on the Wednesday. This is a 3-weekly cycle. This week I had my bloods taken on the Monday, saw my oncologist on the Tuesday morning, and he was a bit concerned about the fact that my blood count was low and worried about whether it was going down or going up, or what was happening. So I had my bloods taken again on Tuesday at lunchtime, and it turned out, I got a phone call later that afternoon from my oncologist to say the bloods had stabilised, and that meant that I would be getting the chemo, and I was so relieved. I mean, you can't imagine, I used to be sceptical about chemotherapy, but I was so relieved to hear that I was getting my chemo on the Wednesday. I could have danced. And then I had the chemo on the Wednesday. That went better than could be expected, minimal side effects, as I say, felt well. Yesterday I saw my community psychiatric nurse. This was a follow-up thing just arising from the sectioning and the psychotic episode I had, the seizure I had. That's the last time I'll see her. It was just a follow-up visit, and that was fine. I mean, it was good to just get a sense of how the oncology and the psychiatry fit together, and what the medication is doing for me, and the fact that this will be for the foreseeable. I never know that I can manage without the steroids, that the chemo can be handled without the steroids. I feel much more relaxed. My worry before was that I was falling between two stools, and now I feel that I'm centred and I know what I'm doing, and I feel more confident. And the fact is, the side effects from those drugs have diminished as I was told they would do, so I feel I've settled into a pattern now, which is much healthier. This morning I went to Mulgai, to the clinic there, for my 3-monthly Prostap injection. That's my hormone injection in the stomach that I get, the jag in the belly, every 3 months. Got that, so that was something on every day this week. Bloods on Monday, oncologist and bloods on Tuesday, chemo on Wednesday, community psychiatric nurse yesterday, and then jag in the belly. And I've got 6 days worth of stomach injections to administer myself, starting from Sunday. And this is to boost my blood count, and I've also got, I have a deficiency in B12 and an iron deficiency, so I've got B12 supplements to take as of today, and as I say, I've got these injections to give as of Sunday. But these are injections that I gave before. The last time I was in the beats, and when I get out, I had 4 or 5 days of these injections to give, so I don't have any qualms about that. So that's really it. My hair hasn't fallen out, the world hasn't fallen in, and I feel I'm in quite a positive mood now. I mean, I was on a downer probably from the time, well actually I would say from Hogmanay, when I had the seizure, through till about a week last Wednesday. It was quite low in terms of mood, compared to, I'm usually Pollyanna, so I'm very up, but I was quite down. But I feel as if in the last week I've climbed up. My concern was that when I got the chemo on Wednesday, I was going to have another dip, I was going to go down again, but that hasn't happened, and I'm still quite buoyant, and touch wood that continues. So I'll leave it there, and we'll see what happens next time round.